Let me ask you this. Let's say that one of our listeners lives in a community and they are a very strong advocate. Maybe they're a member of the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, and they're hearing you speak and they go, oh, well, where's this money coming to our community? So how would they know where to go? How would they know how to maybe funnel some money into what they're doing through NAMI in order to be able to create more support systems for people that have mental health conditions?
So the money is going to many places, and we'll get into the various sections of the bill, or some of the sections, not all of them. Obviously, on our website, we have a breakdown of everything that mentions mental health. Some of the funds are you're able to mobilize around, others are sort of stuck in for specific purposes. But what's important to know is that it went to every city, county throughout the United States, right?
Every city and county in the United States.
There is funds that went to local governments across the United States to help support them, as well as state governments. And so what is difficult to answer your question, Elaine, is that states and localities are set up differently across the United States. So take NAMI, for instance, right? Like NAMI in Washington State is going to look different than NAMI in North Carolina, where Carrie is. Or NAMI may not, but the advocacy efforts to mobilize around the funds are going to look different. And so if you have inroads into local government, if you have inroads into influential people, begin to have those conversations. There is still time to mobilize around these funds, even though the act was passed a few months ago. But what's important is that people in your county, if you don't know where the money's going, or people in your local education agency would likely know where to point you next.
I just want to also let people know that NAMI, again, stands for the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, and they have wonderful programs throughout the country that support families and people with mental health conditions. Mm-hmm. Also, you mentioned people can go to your website, Jesse, in order to get a breakdown of how the funds are being distributed throughout the country. Can you tell us your website? I'll have you do it again, but let's hear it. We'll hear it more than once because I want people to know where to go to get the information.
So if you go to ctipp.org, that's CTIPP.org, this particular document, the American Rescue Plan Act overview, as well as talking points that we have for advocates to mobilize around the American Rescue Plan Act, would be in our National Trauma Campaign webpage. So it's a subpage. So it'll be ctipp.org/National Trauma Campaign.
So let's say that you live in North Carolina, where Carrie does, and she's really, and you're a person who really interested in finding out more about this. Could they come to your website and there would be people that they would be linked to that are in their community that may know more about how this fund is being distributed within their community, or not?
Not right now. So if you were to go to PACE's Connection, I think that would be your best way to connect with folks. Again, that's the importance of partnership. PACE's and CTIPP are doing different things that can be complementary to one another. But I think that the problem, as Carrie and I have continued to peel back the onion on the American Rescue Plan Act and others, is that it is very convoluted, and there isn't information in every community about where to go to access or advocate around these funds. There are specific pockets of money that we can get into that we know where to go. There are others that are less clear. And so I think that the important aspect is to get started and start talking to somebody. And there may be a little bit of ping pong action where they pass you off to the next person, but this is a one-time, once in a lifetime opportunity.
So this is also, for example, would you go to your congressperson? Let's say you know that your congressperson is blah, 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 and you could go and say, hey, I'm interested in where's this funding going in our community? Would that be a point of information?
If you have a relationship with your congressperson, they would likely have more information. But I would say to start, it depends on which bucket of money, right? If we're talking about the ESSER funds, which stands for Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Funding, which had $122 billion that went to local education agencies. 90% of that $122 billion went to the local education agencies. You would go to your superintendent or someone in the local education agency itself to advocate around those funds. For the city and county funds, for the local government funding, you would want to go to somebody at the local government level. I would say that you would want to stay state or local based because again, the federal government sort of gave these broad provisions that apply differently to different states. Is it a county-led state? Is it is it the same across states? It's going to be different across the country. And so
well, so the this